Hi everyone, this is Niraj Shrestha, a registered migration agent, and I've been providing immigration assistance since 2007. I'm from Classic Migration, which is based in Canberra. Today, I'm here to talk about the working visa, which is called subclass 482. So the subclass 482 visa is designed for businesses to sponsor the foreign workers. Well, we know that a lot of businesses, they are struggling to get the right person with the right skills. So this 482 is designed in order to help a business to get the overseas workers from different countries. Of course, the business needs to demonstrate they have been struggling to get locally the right people with the right skills, and if they're able to demonstrate that there are not enough people in Australia in order to get the people with the right skills, then only they can apply for subclass 482 visa. Now the next question is, what are the occupations that is specifically designed for 482 visas? So there is a legislative instrument under which we can see a lot of occupations, probably more than 400 or around 300 to 400 occupations in that legislative instrument list. So if your occupation is on the list, then the business is able to sponsor the foreign workers. So what are the stages if the business wants to get someone from overseas? So there are 3 stages. Number 1 is SPS, which is called standard business sponsorship, and that needs to be approved by the business. So the business first needs to get approval for SPS. If the business is not approved for SPS, then they won't be able to sponsor the foreign workers. At the moment, in order to apply for SPS, the application fee is $420. And this SPS, when they apply for 482, it works for 494 as well. What are the documents the business needs to submit while applying for SPS? So some of the documents they need to submit, like the business plan if the business is new. Another document, they might need to submit the business activity statement, which is quarterly report of the business, profit and loss statement, company tax return. If they are working as a trustee for the trust, then of course the trust deed, and if they are self-employed, so the business registration certificate. So if the company is based in Australia, they must show that the company is registered with ASIC. They must show the company has AVN number, and of course ASIC number, and how long the company has been working. So if the businesses has premises which is leased, then they need to show the lease documents as well. And in addition, there are a few other documents, like if they have employees, then they need to provide the employee payslip and also the payroll, so that they can show that the business is genuine and they have been struggling to get the people with the right skills, and that's why they are seeking to recruit foreign workers for their business. And of course, how that, by getting that right people, how it will help the business, they need to demonstrate that as well. So once you submit all these applications, the department will look at it, and then they make a decision. So that is the first stage, which is called SBS, or standard business sponsorship. The second stage is nomination. This is where the employer needs to nominate foreign workers or overseas worker for 482. So one of the requirements to nominate the foreign worker is the business needs to demonstrate they have made the LMT. So what is LMT is local market. The LMT means local market testing. So the business has to advertise on at least 2 different platforms for more than 28 days in the last 4 months. And after advertising for 4 months, if the business didn't get enough applications, or even after they get the applications but they didn't get the right people, that's what they need to mention in the nominations, that they have received X number of applications, they interviewed the applicants but they were not with the right skills, or they were not flexible, or the business might have 24 hours 7 days requirements where they didn't find someone who is flexible to work in a rotating roster. So they need to demonstrate that they didn't get the right person, but that advertisement should last for at least 28 days for 4 months. And after that, the another requirement is there should be an employment contract. So now they decided that they must nominate someone from overseas. Then there should be an employment contract with that person, the person they are going to nominate. So there should be an employment contract. And the other requirement is for nominating the people with that right skills is choosing the occupations. So if that person is a registered nurse, then they have to select that they have been they want to nominate a registered nurse. If the business is a bakery, then they have to select that person is a baker, and the baker is needed in order to run the business. That's something they need to demonstrate while they're nominating the applications. But at the same time, the applicant, they need to meet the criteria as per ANSCO. So if the ANSCO says someone needs to have at least a bachelor qualifications for that particular occupations, like if the company wants to sponsor a mechanical engineer, and if you look at the ANSCO, it says for someone to be a bachelor in mechanical engineering, they need to have at least they need to have completed the certificate, bachelor's certificate. So the person must have a bachelor's certificate. And the other requirement is that person must have at least 2 years of work experience. And depending on the occupations, it could be after the qualifications or before the qualifications as well. If the occupation is trade, the department will consider whether that experience is prior to gaining the qualification or during while they were studying that course, or even after the course. So it all depends on the occupations, whether the qualification, whether the experience was prior or during or after the completion of the study. While the business trying to nominate or put in the nomination applications, there is a fee. It's called SAF levy, so which is called Skill Levy Australia. So that the fee depends on how many years they want to nominate the foreign workers for, whether that occupation is on the short-term or on the long-term list, and it also depends on the annual turnover. So if the business has less than $10 million turnover and they want to sponsor someone, on 4 years visa, then they need to pay at the rate of $1,200 per year, so which equals to $4,800. But if they have a turnover more than $10 million, then they need to pay $1,800 per year. So if they want to sponsor for 4 years, then they'll have to pay $7,200. So this is something that the employer need to pay the fee. And please remember, this fee cannot be passed on to the applicant. It must be paid by the business. And last thing about 482 visa is the visa applications to be lodged by the visa applicant. Of course, the SPS needs to be approved, the nomination needs to be approved, and the third one is the visa application, where the visa applicant can apply for visa so that they can come to Australia, provided they meet all other requirements like work experience, qualifications, and some of them may need to provide the skill assessments, but it all depends on what occupation they are applying for and where they are from. So if there is a mandatory skill assessment, of course they need to provide the skill assessment as well. And other than that, they need to provide the work experience certificates, where they need to demonstrate they have worked at least 2 years after they have worked 2 years in their profession, in their occupations, and they need to pass the health and the character test as well. And once the visa is granted, they can come to Australia. If it is a short term, then the visa will be granted for 2 years. If it is a long term or medium term, then the visa can be granted for 4 years. Thank you.